And I spent tons of time with these guys, and it definitely wasn't scalable. I created myself another job, but here's what Parkinson's law is. The task will grow as large as the time we give it.
Produced by Podcast Architects.
You're listening to the Lead On podcast, where we discuss experiences in the armed forces while exploring lessons from military leaders.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm David Dearie with the Enlisted Leadership Foundation on the podcast Lead On, Lessons from Military Leaders. Thanks for joining us for week number 2, part number 2, with Brent Bowers, the founder of Land Shark. Brent, it doesn't even look like we missed a beat from the last time we were here.
No, we're here, ready to go.
Ready to go. Truth be told, folks, we do these things, and sometimes we just have to call an audible halfway through. So for Brent and I, it's still the same hour. For the rest of you, this is a new week. But it makes it good that way because things are really fresh and in our mind. So listen, we covered the first half of more than half of your life, talking about your first business that your dad now is running, your real estate that you got into. And then as you transitioned out, you went into land investing. So you got out in 2018. And so what is Land Shark and Zek by Homes and Zek by Land? Tell us about these business ventures. If it's all one business or multiple businesses, and what you've been doing the last 6 years since you've left the Army.
Yeah. You alluded to it in the first episode, but when I got out of the military, I had a passive income that was like double what I was making each month in the military. So I was like,
so what is a passive income? Just in case people.
Yeah. Passive means it's coming in whether I work or not, whether I do anything different or extra. Now, some of these land parcels will eventually pay off. So I had to kind of keep feeding the machine, but it was over $10,000 a month. We'll just leave it at that. And I was maybe making $4,500 a month when I got out of the military, maybe, before taxes. And I'm now earning twice what I was earning, and I was like, well, I have got time to do other things. So I was going on a lot of coffee appointments and just educating people and giving back and trying to help people start land businesses. And then I had that $55,000 a month right in May. So I was like, man, I'm rich. We got the consistent $10,000 a month coming in, plus an extra pop of $55,000. Plus I had multiple other land deals going. Plus I had a small team as well helping me with all this. So I started coaching people, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed getting people their first land deal. And some of these guys that I coached one-on-one, they paid me $1,000, $1,000. I worked for so cheap. I worked for very cheap. And I spent tons of time with these guys, and it definitely wasn't scalable. I created myself another job, but here's what Parkinson's law is. The task will grow as large as the time we give it. So I had a lot of time on my hands. I went from working 13, 14-hour days, plus starting another company while in the military, plus having 2 children and a wife I'd like to see, from time to time. So I was a very busy man. I maybe was getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep at night because I was busy. So I flourished very well teaching other people how to get rich doing land deals. And some of my first people that I coached, like Chris Meeks and Dan Haverkoss and Mason McDonald and Lance King, they're still doing land, and they're all doing, some of them doing way better than I am in land. Like Chris Meeks, out of prison, went and did his first land deal. Literally, the guy was in prison a year prior. He made about $1 million net profit. Plus, the developer gave him a house once he built out the houses. He ended up buying a Lamborghini. And I was thinking, it's just shaking my head. I saw he bought a Lamborghini. I was like, unbelievable. Can't believe he spent his money on that. But you know what? I spend money on stupid stuff as well. And here's the thing. He's helping other people. He has a foundation called Hope Homes. I'm pretty sure they donate a house every year. But he picks kids up in this car that are getting bullied in school. He picks them up in the Lamborghini. I've never rode in a Lamborghini. I've never drove. I'm going to drive one in June, by the way. We're doing something called Supercars and Land Investing out in Denver, Colorado in June. But anyhow, he picks these kids up that are getting bullied in school and then drops them off the next day, changes their life. Totally, like little things like that. And I'm starting to have this very small ripple effect on people and their children, and they're quitting their jobs. Like Mason McDonald, he quit his job after 3 months of doing land investing. And I called him. I was like, what are you thinking? Holy crap, are you kidding me? He goes, Brent, stop. You don't understand. Like, this guy was a CEO of a hospital, by the way, Mason. I ended up hiring his assistant. She worked with me for a couple years. She just left for another opportunity. But he goes, Brent, you don't understand. In 3 months in the land business, I've made more than I make 1 year as my CEO salary. Plus my body's deteriorating from the stress I'm having in this job. We can relate to that. Military.
Yeah,
we get out, we
absolutely.
age like 40 years.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So Parkinson's law. So if you're saying you got a lot of time on your hands, you can fill all that time and with a lot of stuff. What if you don't have much time on your hand? What if, man, I only have, a couple hours available?
I say even better.
Okay, why is that?
Think about it. Our college days, or maybe our high school days, we had this project due, and we were given weeks to do it. Weeks to do a 10,000 page or whatever, however many pages. I remember these freaking things I had to write. They're like 10,000 pages. Unbelievable. Like, what kind of BS can I stack into this? It was 10,000 words, not pages. Thank God.
I know. I gathered as much.
Yeah, holy crap. If I ever saw a 10,000 page book, I don't think the Bible's got that many pages. It doesn't. It's like, yeah. However,
I think we'd have to be in Congress to see something 10,000 pages.
Yeah, if I ever saw that, I would not read it. I like small
Clearly,
books.
that's what they're hoping for.
Exactly, like the tax code, by the way.
There you go. Yeah.
So if you have a couple weeks or a couple months to write it, this project turns into a couple month project. But if I said, David, you got one night to write a 10,000 word essay, you're going to do amazing work. You're going to have that thing to me by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, because you're going to shut the phone off. You're going to turn the TV off. You're going to hypervision focus. You might drink enough caffeine to get a whole entire Olympic team disqualified, but you're going to get it done. Again, that's Parkinson's law in effect. Like, I would rather someone just give me 30 minutes to get a task done so I can just get it done. Or if I'm ever going to speak, I'd rather have only a couple days notice than a couple months notice.
It's funny. I heard a story recently about speaking as somebody who, would be on the calendar that this person's going to be a guest speaker at an event. It'd be on the calendar 3 months early. And this individual would write and rewrite the remarks and send them out to the team to review, get feedback, and keep doing it. Now, person always killed it. But when I heard this story and I thought about this Parkinson's law, I'm like, man, I wonder what he would have done with 3 days instead of 3 months. It would have been just as good, just as powerful. And another really good friend of mine I'll be speaking with later today. He doesn't. In fact, we were talking yesterday, and he says, I know what I'm going to talk about. I'm like, no, I know. We always know what we're going to talk about. The problem is maybe not a problem, but what we're going to say to get there. And I think the biggest problem, if we want to talk about public speaking or whatever, is there's that time element, and if we don't get there quickly, people lose interest. So it's really kind of knowing the roadmap, and I think that plays into the Parkinson's law, right? If I give too much time, man, I'm going to take forever to kind of get to the point across. Very little time. I may not talk for an hour. I may talk for 10 minutes, but I'll tell you that 10 minutes, I hope is going to be really, really good. Or, in the military, you ever hear somebody in the military talk, they got to give 3 points? Every good military speech, 3 points. Why do you need 3 points? If I only get 5 minutes to talk, why do I have to cram 3 points? How about one really good takeaway?
Yeah. One good impactful takeaway is all you need.
Yeah. So coaching. How long have you had a coach, and how long have you been coaching? And why would somebody want to have a coach. That seems to be becoming a more popular medium these days. People get in these coaching business.
I started hiring coaches in about 2015. And that's when I started finding success very quickly in the real estate business. Because I used to take a lot of seminars, a lot of courses, but where's that person Monday morning when I'm getting kicked in the teeth and I have a question, or I just got some rejection? And like, we all hate rejection. Men are used to it. Women really hate it. They're not used to it, if you know what I mean. But I started hiring coaches in 2015. I started coaching people about 2017, 2018. I made a lot of mistakes. But when I started coaching people on things that I was doing in my land business, guess what improved and kept evolving and changing? Like my land business, it got so much better. As I saw land sharks, my community members doing well and doing bigger deals than I was doing and better deals, I started evolving and adapting and improving. And it's almost like I was like a double agent. I got to see what they were doing. I was like, man, I'm the coach. And for a while, my ego got in the way. And I was like, I got to act like I'm doing bigger, better deals, or I got to keep up with them. Then I started being unhappy because what's the thief of happiness is comparison and all these things.
That's
so
good.
It was just, and then I was comparing myself to my other friends that were coaching, and they had these big egos and they were sharing their vanity numbers and their gross numbers, and I'm like, why am I not as good as that guy? And it turned it into a road of, I built this amazing business to serve me and my family, gave me financial freedom and time freedom and all these freedoms, geography freedom. Like literally in the past 6 months, I've been to Costa Rica, Cayman Islands, multiple other states, just traveling around. We just got off vacation, but I was unhappy because of just like staying in it, grow, scale, bigger. It's called greed. And we just always have to realign with what we set out to accomplish here. And like I asked you,
the landscape.
The landscape right there.
Yeah, so it sounds like so even as a leader in the military, going back to the worst piece of leadership advice, being humble. Like, you need to be humble. Don't be so proud. But even out of the military, even as an entrepreneur, working with others and being humble, it sounds like, recognizing, being humble enough to recognize that you're being greedy, that your ego's getting in the way, that you're comparing yourself to others. And then when you get to that, do you find that things improve? I guess things could be family, finances, health, all that.
Yeah, absolutely. They absolutely do. And we just have to, we get what we look for. We get what we anticipate. It's, we call also the Reticular Activator. We buy the black Chevy Silverado Trail Boss or whatever it is, or the High Country. You're going to see those trucks everywhere after that.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like we if we look for wins all day long, that's what we get. We get wins. I started tracking my wins. I do 5 wins a day, 5 wins that I want to see today, and then the 5 wins that happened. And it's funny, they correlate with each other. They're parallel paths. Sometimes it's even better than what I imagined. So I'm like, might as well imagine bigger wins. And the same thing with our Land Sharks community. They always got to share the win first before they ask the question. So I'm actually in a season right now of descaling, taking things off my plate, because as entrepreneurs and visionaries, we can stack too much, and who suffers? Our family gets what's left rather than, the good parts.
I guess identifying what enough is enough, or what enough looks like, to make that decision to start moving things off. How do you decide what comes off the plate, and does it ever go back on? Yeah,
and it can go back on. And you'll find yourself, oh man, I have all this time. Let me join another mastermind. Someone texted me today. His name is Ellis. Hey man, I want to tell you about this mastermind. I'm like, nope. I literally just got out of one and into 2. Like, no, I don't have any capacity. So it was a hard no. It's either a heck yes or a heck no. That's how you figure it out. Is this going to allow me to jump out of bed in the morning? Is this going to help improve what I'm trying to improve right now in my life? And what am I going to have to say no to if I say yes to this?
So we're talking about entrepreneurship, and we're talking with Brent Bowers, Land Sharks. I probably should have plugged that about 10 minutes ago. But as we talk about entrepreneurship in these things, what if you're not an entrepreneur? What if whether you're still serving in the military or you have a corporate job? Do you find that these tools, being humble, understanding the landscape, getting coaches, determining what capacity, the amount we take on, what we choose to take off, is that something that's best reserved for somebody who's self-employed, or is it something that you could have used and maybe you started using as in the military even before that?
Yeah, I don't think it's reserved for entrepreneurs. We're all the same at the end of the day. Some of us work for people and some of us have people working for us. It doesn't change anything. We all should be bettering our lives and other people's lives around us. And you might say, well, I can't afford the coaching. Well, ask yourself, how can you afford it? What can you do to afford it type thing. The money always comes and you're going to spend it one way or another. Might as well spend it investing in yourself.
Yeah, it's true. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you or to Land Sharks to learn more about property it sounds like it's all property investing, not so much home investment, but buying dirt, like the song says. What they can do, anything beyond going to the website, or is there maybe a YouTube channel or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Brent L, and yes, the L stands for Land, Brent L Bowers. It's just Brent Bowers on YouTube, or go to thelandsharks.com and schedule a call with me. I'm a little behind on those calls right now. I got a few more applications to touch base on. We just got off of an eight-day vacation, but it's check me out on those sites or go to thelandsharks.com.
Okay, yeah, and I always find that I'd rather learn about what somebody's doing, even if I'm interested, and then as I find out about it, maybe I'm not the right fit. I'm better because I'm educated, and then as you mentioned mastermind groups, I'm in a business group. As I learn different things, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody that's involved in buying land," now I can say, "Hey, I met a guy. Look him up. Here's his number. I'll make a connection." So, well, listen, Brent, before we sign off, we started the last episode with the worst piece of leadership advice. So I like to end it. What is the we make bad decisions from time to time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So is there some bad decision that, man, really could have hurt you and others, but fortunately you didn't? But in your mind, like, man, I got away with that one. I don't want to do that again. Was there anything like that while you were in the military, before or after?
Yeah, I almost made a really bad decision on one of my, I think it was like third or fourth land deal. I got a piece of land under contract for $25,000. It was actually next to Schriever Air Force Base, 44 acres. I was freaking out. I didn't have $25,000 to buy it. I was like, the bank's going to sue me. It was actually a bank was selling it to me. And I sent this bank a letter, and this is all the stuff I teach in the Land Sharks course, exactly how to do this. And we went under contract, and I had 30 days to buy this land or sell it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go find a buyer. So I put signs out all over, 33 bandit signs. I said 44 acres, 38K, cash only, my phone number. So I had it under contract for $25,000. I was selling it for $38,000. So do the math, 35, 36, 37, 38. So $13,000 difference. And I had a piece of land worth over $100,000. I didn't really know how much it was worth. I just knew I had something. And I didn't know what I was doing back then at all. So long story short, I got a call from a gentleman as soon as I put out like maybe the 15th or 16th sign. And he's like, where are you at? So we met on the side of the road right in front of the land. We shook hands. We agreed on it. $38,000. It's his. He's going to close in a week. Well, I was going to the field the next week. So I had a little bit of a challenge to figure out logistically. Luckily, I was a logistics officer. Just really resourceful is all you need to be, is resourceful. So I had multiple other calls. I had a $14,000 higher offer. People were turning this into a bidding war. And I had a dilemma. I had a crossroads. $14,000 additional dollars plus the $13,000 I was already going to make was like life-changing at that time. I couldn't imagine having an extra 30 grand in my pocket at that time. And this was really close to me getting out of the military. So I was in stress mode. So I was planning on just canceling the contract or canceling the agreement. I didn't have a contract with this buyer. And I called one of my coaches that I had paid really good money to teach me wholesaling houses, but I was more doing land. His name is Cody Hoffine, and I'll give him a shout out. You know, he started a company called Joe Homebuyer, amazing coach. And he goes, Brent, I think you know the answer already. Why are you calling?
If you have to ask the question, you know the answer.
So I was like, gosh darn it. I was hoping you'd tell me what I wanted to hear. So I called that Texan. I said, hey, what if, this guy was from Texas. I was like, what if you made $7,000 for just meeting me on the side of the road? I said, because I got a $14,000 higher offer than you gave me. And I know we agreed. We shook hands. He goes, we agreed and we shook hands. I want the land. I was like, all right. And we did the deal together. And I let the rest of the offers go. And still to this day, I'm proud of myself. And this was like in 2016 time. I'm so happy that I made the right decision, because $30,000 now, yeah, it's like one land deal maybe.
Yeah, you know, and you never know too how that may, you know, come back around later. So your handshake, your integrity is a lot more important than an extra.
Yeah,
$14,000.
I
right?
sold my soul. You know, like you don't want to inherit the earth and lose your soul type thing.
Nope.
So
No, very good. Well, Brent, I want to thank you for taking the time out to just talk to us, share of your military experience, and thank you for your service, who you were before and what you're doing after, and you know, and I'm sure that a lot of your clients, people that you work with, that you teach these skills to, are military veterans. So thank you for that. Thanks for continuing to give back. And, you know, folks, please look up Brent, the website and contact information. All that's going to be in the show notes below. I thank you again for tuning in for part 2 of this episode of Lead On, Lessons from Military Leaders. You've been listening to myself and Brent Bowers, the founder of Landshark, Army veteran. Join us next week for another edition of Lead On, Lessons from Military Leaders, where you're going to meet a great retired Navy Command Master Chief that I've had the pleasure of serving with for many years before I got out of the military and beyond. Have a great rest of your day, week, month, year.
Produced by Podcast Architects.